Welcome back. Here we are. And this week we have a step 2 of the 12 essential steps for the practical frequency guide. And this week we are going to be entering multiple gateways from the physical aspect. However, I don't want to give it all away yet, because what we want to do here is go back a wee bit to where you've come from. Now, I hope that you have watched the full video of week 1, and if you haven't yet, please go and do that first. And it is my trust that you have also done the worksheet from week 1. I know that it's quite complex, and that it's a lot of thinking and feeling through that in your body responses and your meaning making. And because it's all a part of the process that we're going through these next, or through this whole process of the 12 weeks, it is an essential aspect. So if you haven't already done week 1, watch the video, taken the learnings, and then done the worksheets, please go back now and do that first before we move into this next part of the 12 essential steps. So this is step 2 and week 2. And it is my pure pleasure to be here with you. Today, we are going to be exploring the intimate body-mind relationship. The intimate body-mind relationship of you. The intimate mind-body relationship. So how the mind and body are relating on a consistent basis with each other. We're going to be delving into some of the conversations around that, but also in this particular video, there's multiple explorations where you can actually participate in exercises. So it's a video where you will need the extent of time that it provides so that you can actually experience these and then set into practice the process of working with some of these gateways for the intimate body-mind relationship that is consistently and continuously in play in your life. And with this, what we want to do is know that you are on board. So just inviting you to bring your physical body awareness, all of your intention, your attention, into the space that your physical body holds. Into the space that your physical body holds. Now, knowing that even as you do that now, you're aware that it's not just your physical body, are you? You can notice that you're aware of where your physical body is, in a location, in a position, and yet there's so much more of you available. Now, when we come from a whole frame, you will sense the wholeness of the physical body being. However, when there's aspects of the physical body being that are desiring attention for some reason or another, they will feel location-based. So let's say that you have tight shoulders, or that you have some part of your body that is not comfortable. That will appear separate from the whole of your physical body being. So just observe and notice that now. Just taking the time to observe and notice. Is your body being in fullness? So you're aware of the whole being without any sense of separate location? Or are you aware of some separate location on your body that is in discomfort of some kind? Like I said, it could be a tension, it could be a pain, it could be an ache. And either are perfect. It's just getting a sense of how you are showing up in your own world right now from the perspective of the physical body being. And just noticing that. It might be nice now just to close your eyes and just observe the space that you are in and the space that you hold. Here is a wonderful image of your body being. Yeah, so it's sort of including all of the aspects of you: physical, mental, emotional, spiritual, energetic, and vibrational. And like I said earlier on, this particular process is accessing gateways to do with your physical body being. And we're going to be exploring the ways to use your body in order to bring a real awareness and alignment within yourself. It's always easier to enter any level of building with a gateway, right? With a door, with a gate, with a window, with an access point. Otherwise, we tend to remain outside of that physical building unless there are entrance doorways. And so in this regard, that's the metaphor that we're playing with here. This is the physical body being that you have available to you day in, day out. And effectively, you move around in this vessel of the physical body being. And yet there is so much more of you because the mind-body relationship is so interconnected. And that's some of what we're going to be exploring in this session. And what I want to do here, as I'm just going to stop the share there, what I want to do here is invite you again to just observe how it feels to be you right now. And take a snapshot of that. Almost like you're taking a selfie. Yeah. Take a snapshot internally using the mind to observe and witness how you are right now before we jump into the different gateways that are available to you. Let me help you with some motivations to keep going in this process. All right, so if you're the type of person who actually loves to work with vibration, you want to lift your vibration, you want to have that level of vibration, the idea of it, and the actual experience in your life from that bliss place. You want to be able to be within the presence of your own bliss. I can tell you that the understanding of knowing where you start and finishes can be perceived beautifully from the physical body being. Yeah? If you're the type of person who has had enough of the pains, the aches, the exhaustion, the tiredness, and moving around in your body being, in your physical body being, in life in general, then this is going to be some real key points, some real go-tos moving forward, instant applications, instant things that you can do to come back into alignment in the life that you are and that you create into being. And not only that, if you're a practitioner or you work with people, if you have these down pat, if you have these understandings, these basic practices, then I can tell you the work that you do with your clients will be passing gifts to them. Even sharing one of the things we're going to be moving through in this next while can actually be such a gift to a person's life. The thing here is you've got to do it. It's just like walking around with an umbrella, but not putting it up in the rain. And so to understand the use of these, first of all, there's that inner motivation. Yes, I want to understand how I'm put together. I want to understand the different gateways. I want to understand the physical body being and its multiple moving parts, because I know I'm all of this, and sometimes I still have things in life that just aren't working for me. Well, let's work out some of those gateways so that you can make instant changes, and that will affect the whole being. So today, within the physical body, using the physical body, you're going to begin to notice how practical application, a daily practice, begins to evolve your own understanding of where you start and finish. And when you apply this in your life on a daily basis, on a regular basis, on a go-to basis, just like brushing your teeth, just like drinking water, just like having a good sleep, just like eating nourishing food, these are some go-tos that when you place them into your life, you're going to notice a difference. No matter where you're at, whether you're raked in pain or whether you're already moving around in life with ease and with grace and with high vibrational frequency awareness, there's always refinements. And these simple gateways are going to be go-tos as and when you need them, and they will help refine your understanding of the experience of life that you are. Some of the gateways that we're going to be exploring today are breathing, so your breath, physiology, posture, movement, and body awareness. We're going to do quite a large section on breathing. We're going to cover a little bit around physiology because it's a huge body of knowledge. We're going to do some posture things that will help tremendously. I know this to be true. And we're going to move into movement and then back into body awareness. And this will begin to make sense as we participate and play in this part of your process. So I'm just going to stop that share and come back to you here. And what we're going to do now is move into the next section. The reason we're starting with breath is it's so profound. I mean, even if we just come back to being a human, the baby in the womb is practicing breathing. It practices breathing, even though it doesn't have air like we understand it and know it. It still practices breathing inside of the womb. And then when the baby is birthed, comes down the birthing canal, and it comes out into our wonderful, crazy world that we've co-created together. The first breath that the baby takes is where it is deemed to be birthed, and that is the day of its birthday. And then this baby lives, and it lives, and it lives, and it has all these wonderful experiences just like you have and are. And then its final breath, just before it passes, this human being now, in old age, before it passes, that final breath, where the spirit being moves on into a different form and the physical body remains, that is noted or denoted as the end of that human life. So you can kind of see why the breath is such an important gateway for us to pay attention to. Now, always, we're breathing. You're always breathing, always breathing. You know, it's just a natural thing. In fact, the body will override, if somebody holds their breath, the body will override and send it into an unconscious state in order so that the body can breathe again. I've watched children tantrum. One of the children I'm thinking of now, she used to hold her breath and when she was doing a tantrum. And eventually, I mean, it was a bit scary when it first happened, but eventually we all just realized that this child the body itself would take over, and eventually she would breathe, although we were kind of all holding our breath at the same time with her. The body is so smart, it's so incredible, and it will cause the breath to be taken because this is a large part of what is feeding the whole system. And so, the breath of life also breathes you. You're breathing and the breath of life breathes you. And I'm inviting you to see this as an interconnected relationship. You're breathing the breath and the breath is breathing you. You're breathing the breath and the breath is breathing you. You're breathing the breath and the breath is breathing you. And so let's bring your attention now to the breath just coming into your body, just naturally. And then out. You'll notice that as you internally shift to observe the breath, that there is an instant shift in your awareness. And it's this shift that is the power. All right? It's not just the breathing. And I want to point that out to those who have eyes to hear and ears to listen and see, that it's this shift where we come internal to observe the breath that is actually the power that we're playing with in these exercises. And so we're going to do a series of exercises. You will have a worksheet, or in the workbook that you have for the Practical Frequency Guide, you'll have a worksheet or the workbook. And this will have the exercises very cleanly written down for you to be able to practice later on. I'm going to take you through briefly all of the exercises so that you have a body awareness, you have an experience. You may already be a great breath worker. You may have already done multiple series of breaths. You may have already studied the breath. I know I have over the years. One time I did 100 days of 100 breaths. What that meant is I purposely took 100 conscious breaths over a period of 100 days. that was transformational to me, in me, and through me as I began to work with the conscious awareness space. And this is why I'm pointing it out already. It was the internal, it was the turning inside that was really the power, even though it was the breath that I made my task. Yeah? It was the breath that I made my task. But it's also a way of shifting the awareness out of the busy mind. Because the moment you shift and come down with the breath, you're including more of the physical body awareness. And you're bringing this into observation within yourself. And the breath will teach you. The breath will work with you. The breath will inform you as it works, as the breath works with all of the makeup of both your physical, mental, and emotional bodies. The breath is a teacher. And this is why the breath of life breathes you, and you breathe the breath of life. It is not just a one-way thing. When you understand that, the joy of breathing consciously and the shift that occurs in that will become such a profound shift that it will shorten the length of time that it takes you to move out of a discord or a dissonance within your body being back into alignment with ease and with grace. The first exercise in this series is going to be the 3 breath. It's your first simple go-to when life hits, when you're feeling misaligned, you're feeling a mistrust, you're feeling out of sorts, things aren't going okay, and you're disarrayed within the body being. Your first go-to is your 3 breaths. Simple. It's so simple. You consciously breathe 3 times, bringing your awareness into your body. So breathing in, and exhaling. Breathing in, and exhaling. And again, breathing in, and exhaling. And as you bring your sensory awareness into that process, and just recall now how your body is feeling, what you're noticing, what the sensory messages are that are running through your body. You can magnify this simple process, this 3 breath process, by on the in-breath, following the breath down, and on the out-breath, softening. So you soften the body being, and you'll feel the shoulders come down on the exhale. So those are ways that you can magnify this process in a simple and easy way. And we're starting off with basics, and here's why. Because if you want to fly high-level vibration in alignment, causing magnificent changes in your world and in other people's worlds, you always start with the basics. You get this well and truly in an understanding of the power of the breath of life breathing you. Now we're just going to up this a little bit more to a 10 breath. All right? So the 10 breath is going to magnify that process of the 3 breath. It's going to shift the body resonance because of the conscious awareness that goes on longer than about a minute. And this is the beautiful power of it, okay? So again, the 10 breath is as simple. When do you use a 10 breath? It's really good if you're feeling a little angry about something. This is a really good one to do. It's like you walk away or you stop and you take a breath in and you let it out. And those first couple can actually be, and you're breathing in. So your 10 breath, I count on my fingers. I actually do. I'll actually just tap 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 as I'm breathing in and breathing out. Of course, that's one. Now, if this sounds like I'm teaching you to suck eggs on a basic thing, I'm doing this because I'm pointing to different things along the way. So what you're doing is I'm engaging my body as I do this. I'm inviting the mind to observe and to witness the count, just the number. And I'm inhaling and exhaling by requirement. And I'll shift and change this as to whether I'm mouth breathing, in my exhale, whether it's a mouth breath or whether it's a nose breath. And I'm not making either one right or wrong. I'm not making it mean anything, right? It's not meaning anything. The whole point here is that you're bringing your awareness into yourself, which is where you reconnect to yourself internally. And we do this through the gateway of the breath and through the gateway of the body. So whenever it comes to a 10 breath, what you have here is the magnificence of you being present with yourself for longer than you usually are. And I know this to be true because it's a human condition to not be present. And so we're building the muscles of being present. And this is why the breath is so powerful. And most people don't clearly point to why. But the breath is this powerful thing. Just is what it is. I mean, we're breathing oxygen. We can science that out to the ends of the earth. But the point is here, you're bringing your attention in. You're following it out. You're taking the messages that the body is informing you of and the breath is teaching you about. And you're responding exactly as it desires to be. And so also what you're building here are the skills at a conscious level awareness of where you start and finish, the feedback loops within the body-mind being. And the more you do this, the more refined and awareness you become at a conscious level. Of course, you're going to shift back into not breathing consciously at some point in your day. And the moment you become aware of that, if you want to really get into the levels of practice around breath and body, mind, being work, you would set tasks for yourself. Set attention span requirements to bring your attention back into your physical body being, and your mental body being, your emotional body being, all of you through the gateway of the breath. And what this points to here is conscious breathing, which is the third exercise in the workbook. Just going to take a moment in the presence of you to point out some very obvious things. You see, as the breath teaches you and you listen in the relationship of how you're showing up in the world, and you become conscious, which is the witness observing, presence begins to show up in you. And it's your presence that you're always seeking. I need to get back to myself. People say it's in their language. Yeah, they do. If you've ever said that, I know when I've said that, what I'm really asking for is me to show up for me. And conscious breathing provides this. It is separate from the illusions of grandeur of this identity that we think that we are, or the activity that we're engaged in, or the acts of doing, being, performing in the world. And it brings us back into conscious breath awareness of the presence of you. And there's so much magic inside of here as you begin to show up in the presence of you. So much magic, so much sensate, sensory-based feedback will come back to you as literally the molecules in your being, the cells in your body, and all of the spaces around, the organs, the bones, the skin all interacts and says, yes, here I am. Here I am. I feel me. This is the gateway of the conscious breathing. So, one of the ways you can consciously breathe is to sit in the gateway of the nostril. First of all, discover which nostril you're breathing in and out of, because it changes about every 20 minutes. Imagine that you're on a deck chair in your nostril as the breath comes in and as the breath comes out. You're the observer of the breath of information of the life that is breathing you. You're the witness. You're the one who is accessing the knowledge from the teacher of the breath, which is you. What is highly recommended here is that you set yourself a 5-minute alarm, 5-10 minutes, in conscious breathing. It will be easier if you deprive some of your senses, if you close your eyes. And be conscious with your breath. Let me point out, as you're probably already observing, that an inner alignment begins to show up. The presence of you begins to emerge, because you've brought your attention and conscious awareness and witness, and you're showing up to yourself. It's like the marriage of you with you. Realizing that in this now moment, all is well. All is well. You can become even more refined with that observation. Of course, you'll have thoughts come and go. And every single one of those thoughts that come and go that desire to attract your attention, you have a choice. You can either chase them down, or you can be present and conscious within the breath of life. You begin to notice that the fizzing or the sensate feedback of the body also comes outside of the body being at this stage. So not just the physical where the skin ends. But the more you consciously breathe, the more it comes into a wholeness of more aspects of you. And so the choice to do conscious breathing begins to refine your awareness and observation that you're not separate from anything either. That there is a wholeness within all of you, accepted, accessed by your conscious awareness using the gateway of the breath. Probably 1 trillion things are happening all in that one space and place. As your awareness attunes to the feedback of you being in your own presence, all through the conscious awareness of the breath. So when and why would you use that technique? When and why for me is whenever I get the opportunity to sit and wait, could be when I'm waiting in line. It could be when I'm in the car. It could be when I'm waiting in a waiting room. It could be just before a client. It could be any point where I have the space of 5 or 10 minutes where I can simply attune into the conscious awareness of my breathing. Take the body feedback, take the breath teaching. And then as I shift from location-based, which is some aspect of me, into a whole of frame, I begin to notice more and more again the perfection and the magnificence of that which is here always, in all ways, as it is for you. So that's a really great exercise to add into your daily life. Whether you do it once a day, that'll shift and change your life, I can tell you. Whether you do it twice a day, watch out. If you bring it into the daily practice of your life being, the magnificence of that, of you showing up in your own presence, walking through the conscious breathing gateway, the fine attunements, the fine inner learnings, the evolution of your presence and showing up will deepen, mature, refine, and if you continue to do it, it automatically shifts the vibrational levels inside of you. It automatically, and we're going to be getting to this later in the program, works with the environment of the cells. It automatically allows you to be you without all of the illusions of this life that we think into being. I can't share enough the beauty of placing just conscious breathing into the life that is you. And moving on to the next exercise that is in your workbook or in the PDF that you have, the worksheet. And this is connected breathing. This is slightly different. And it's different because you're noticing a pause. So I'm going to lead you through this, but what I'm inviting you to do here is notice the pause. Yeah. So this is building the receptivity of the shifts and changes that occur within you. And this starts to refine your awarenesses. This starts to attune you to the subtleties. If you want to be able to work at high vibrational levels, you want to attune the subtleties of your observation and awareness and the feedback responses and the ability to be taught within your own presence. And I believe connected breathing is one of these that really points to this beautifully points to this. So connected breathing acts like this. So what you're doing is you can do it however you want to, but the suggestion in this process is that you're inhaling and you're following. It's like you're leading, your attention is leading the breath in. And you'll begin as the leader to realize that there's a point just before the breath turns. And then it comes out. And there's a point just before the breath turns where it comes back in again. Now, it's not the same breath that comes back in again. But this connected breathing is the observation of the turn of the breath. And then it comes in again. When I'm talking, I can't actually do it, but I can follow the energy of it. And there's a turn. And your attention begins to do this. So what you're observing here is the energy interaction with the perception of the breath that we're breathing. And you're observing the turn, the pause, just before the breath desires. The body desires to exhale the breath. There's multiple ways of perceiving this too. And just before, there we go, just before you'd be breathing in again, the body becomes receptive to it. During the down, the body's feeding. And then there's just a turn, there's a point where your breath turns as the exhale begins to come back up again and out of the body. Connected breathing. This is something that you do as an exercise program for a while. Following that connected breath, following the intentions, receiving the feedback from the body, not making too much meaning of it, just simply in the subtleties, because it's in the subtleties of this turn that you begin to notice new awarenesses show up. If you continue to do connected breathing, allowing the breath to be as long as it desires to be, or as short as it desires to be as full as it desires to be, or to be as shallow as it desires to be. Letting the connected breathing teach and inform you. Becoming aware of what the feedback is. Being aware of the turn and the pause. You can be aware of this without having to fill it with information and meaning. It's understanding the turn. Yeah? These are the subtleties that are in play. Always, by the way, we're just bringing conscious awareness to them. So again, 5 to 10 minutes of playing with that, you'll begin to notice a real difference in the body being that is you. A real difference in the body being that is you. And the magic of this is that you have another go-to, another gateway. Lovely to do it in a sitting up meditation or in a laying down meditation as you're starting to go in. Yeah, lovely practice. Beautiful, beautiful practice. And if you apply this with some of your clients, you've got to have the intricacies within yourself in order to know what happens, in order to be able to lead them when you're speaking. Does that make sense? Because when I'm speaking, I'm taking in quick breaths. And when I'm speaking, I'm exhaling, of course. So the reason you would practice this is if you work with other people and you want to guide them through something like this, you want to have a felt sense, knowledge, know-how. You want to have the intricacies of understanding. You want to have the depth of feedback from your own self in order to understand the rhythms that the body might have and the feedback locations so that you can know the sensory-based feedbacks. And so then you can have some level of perception of how another person may or may not experience this. And you can help to assist them in what to observe. That's some good reasons on why you might decide to bring connected breathing into your life. What might be really good now is you just take a break state, perhaps have a glass of water, or just stretch your body out, because believe me, you are exercising deeply when we're doing breathing exercises of any kind. So just reorganizing your body at some level in order for you to have this ease happening, okay? So just wiggling yourself up a little bit, because we're going to be moving into a much deeper practice here that is actually from a body of knowledge called multiple brain integration. Marvin Oka is my master trainer, who was one part of the development actually of the multiple brain techniques, multiple brain integration techniques, MBIT they call it. And I'm not going to be teaching about multiple brains today. I'm going to be using their coherence breathing. If you want to find out more, just go and find multiple brain integration, or MBIT as it might be called. And Grant Soloso is the other creator of this. And Grant's actively promoting the multiple brain integration techniques. So let me give you just a quick rundown on the coherence breathing. So coherence is a way of being in the body that you're probably already feeling a little bit because we've done so much breathing practice already. But we're just going to amp this up a little bit And I'm going to take you through reasonably quickly the coherence breathing, because you can, in your own time, go and practice this. And it is in your worksheet. So the theory behind this is that you have more than one brain, right? You have the head brain, you have the heart brain, which is the magnetic brain, and you have the gut brain, which is the intuition brain. So much feeding, and they're always interacting with each other. What was interesting in this body of work is that they point to the fact that the brain, the physical brain, this one, mind has certain things that it does very well, and that's meaning making and making perceptions of things and creativity. Whereas the heart brain, of course, has a different thing that it does really, really well, and that's relationships and feelings and values, those kind of things, relating with other people. Whereas the gut brain has a whole different body of information that it tracks, and that is how you are identifying with yourself, the self-preservation of that identity, and then your courage to act, the actual action factor of you. And so coherent breathing is the idea that you bring your body into a coherence where everything is communicating with itself and each other from a whole body perspective. And if you want to get into the intricate details of it, it's actually that the coherence has this very close to the way the earth actually, the hertz of the earth. So you're actually working with the earth in this way. Yeah. Okay. So the simple technique is that you're breathing in to the count of 6, breathing out to the count of 6, breathing in to the count of 6, and breathing out to the count of 6. It's that simple. And if you're not used to breathing, you may find that the 6 count breath is quite long. And so when you want to practice it, you might pull it back a wee bit to 4 or 5 seconds until you can actually do the coherent breathing to a count of 6. And I can tell you that people who aren't used to this can sometimes get a little bit airheady for a moment, because they actually haven't been able to breathe this deeply and this level of coherence for a while, especially somebody who's primed at the high levels of stress. This can be quite a shift in presence being for them. So coming into coherence is a magnificent place to work from the body presence in your being. And when you're working with other people, the capacity to be in this space very fast will allow healing to take place for them very fast, and also, of course, for you and your body being. So I'm going to guide you through this. We come into the heart first, then we breathe into the brain, then we breathe back into the heart, then we breathe into the gut, and then we breathe back into the heart. All right, so I'm only going to take you through that level of breathing count, guiding you each way, and then you can take the practice elsewhere. So just inviting you to get ready to breathe in, and breathing into your heart, 3, 4, 5, 6, and out from your heart, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and into your heart, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and out, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and into your heart, 3, 4, 5, 6, and out, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Inhale to your brain, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and out, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and into the brain, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and out, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and in, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and out, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Heart in, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and out, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and in, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and out, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and down to the stomach, in, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and out, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and into your stomach, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and out. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. One more time. In, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and out. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Into your heart. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and out. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and in. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and out. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And one more time. In, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and out. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And then just let your breathing return to its natural state. And now's a really good time to notice your body senses. Notice your body being. And just take an internal snapshot, like a selfie. The way it feels like to be this. If you're noticing that you feel like you've had a real good workout, good, because it's part of it, okay? If this feels really, really good for you, then you'll be able to increase that 6 count to the full 6 count seconds a little bit more on your phone. There are some apps that you can actually use for that level of work if you want to. Now, why would you do this? I think I've covered that off. The coherence breathing is very powerful for really aligning you. There's other things that are going on quite deeply in this level of work. And I'll touch into some of those down the track in different sessions as we move forward. So well done. Maybe you want to move your body a little bit and let those changes take place beautifully inside of yourself. So just bringing a level of awareness to the whole body being of you as we're going to move forward into another section now. So while I just move forward into the share screen and invite you to, yeah. Okay. All right, so we're going to move into the physiology impacts. So physiology is a big study. I mean, it's a big study of all of the interconnected nature of the body being. If you want to go down a science track, please do that. If you want to go down the spiritual path of that with all the chakras, please do that. But I just want to do an overview here of your physiology and the impacts that come in the different multiple gateways that you can walk through to the already connected nature, the tiny information, sensory feedbacks that are happening that you would have felt during the breath, right? And so I just want to point to different things to be aware of in your physiology, because I'm separating posture out from this, but in your physiology there's a constant body-mind relating going on consistently, but it doesn't stop there. It also feeds out at a vibrational level into the message that you're sending out to other people and to the universe at large. Plus, this feeds back to you consistently and coherently and ongoing all day, every day. And you've got so much that's going on. If you want to take it from the spiritual sense of the different chakras, the root chakra right down into the base of the spine, right down in through the legs, the grounding aspect of you, up into the sacral area, this the orange area. The root chakra is red. Yeah, and then you've got the sacral area, which is orange, and this is more the creative perspective. This is an aspect of you that is either open or closed, working, functioning, doing really well or not, but it's very much the physical body being of this 3D planet for us, connected with the root chakra. And then of course we've got the solar plexus, which seems to be this bridge, this gateway. So much intuition knowledge comes from this section here, but it's also a part of what grounds us into the earth, grounds us into the physical reality. And so from a creation factor here, this is a really important gateway. Okay, this is why physiology is important. I'm just going to skip over this very fast. You can do a lot more research if you're interested in. And then, of course, you've got the fourth chakra, which is the heart chakra. And this is from the multiple brain integration. This is the magnetic section of the body, and it's so too is the heart with the connected nature. So this is the upper areas of the chakras. These are the heart connections. The heart is such a powerful, incredible thing to have open as well, but we want it working with all of the other chakras of you, and physiology can help with this a little bit. Then, of course, we've got the throat chakra, which is important for the speaking, speaking out if we're coming from a creation factor, the speaking of the truth, the speaking things into existence through the heart of love, through the throat chakra. Then we've got the brow, or the third eye, if we're coming from that perspective. And this too has an important part in physiology as well. And I'm just going to quickly run through some of those in this session today. Then, of course, the crown, the connected nature to the highest levels of all that you are. So when these are all in alignment and full body and being coherence, we've got this beautiful functioning system that is consistently feeding back and creating on our planet in the most beautiful way. So these can show through and be activated with your physiology just through basic things like how you're walking around, from which sections and centers you're walking from. You might know the person who walks from their root chakra, where they're throwing their hips out first. Possibly it looks like to keep their pants up if they've got this look of the baggy pants look, but they're throwing out of the root chakra as you go along. Often when a woman's pregnant, we can visibly see that she's leading with her stomach through the sacral area or the solar plexus area, or the hiding of it for somebody else where their shoulders are crunched over and the section area of the sacral and the solar plexus is being closed up. Yeah. And then we've got, of course, the same thing responding if the chest is caved in, or if the chest is out when somebody is walking in. I've been learning to dance, ballroom dancing, and this is something I've learned from ballroom dancing from a different level altogether, is the upper carriage open and lifted makes the dance very, very different to observe. And I know this for myself with walking around. If I open up my chest as I'm walking, it's this opening of the heart chakra. When I'm working with people, this is all here too. This is just physiology stuff every day, moving around on our planet. Can you get excited? I really get excited with this kind of work. When we realize how we've always got gateways of feedback and knowledge on how we're doing it. If our shoulders are over and we're closing up this section of the body, we're effectively closing down some of these aspects, but we can open them up. And breathing, of course, helps us, but the physiology and walking of this is important too. You'll always notice somebody when they're really, really busy and they're thinking a lot, and they actually walk almost with their head. So they've got this downward walk. Which is quite different than the horizon walker, where somebody's looking up into the horizon because they're gazing into the wonder of life. Whereas when somebody's focused down in a stress-related walk, active, 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 active. So that also shows through in the physiology. And I'd love you to go and play and try some of these different walks that are available, because you'll notice that when you shift your walk, when you shift the physiology of your body being, everything changes. So in your sitting too, a depressed person cannot sit upright with their chest open, with their head up, and stay entirely depressed. They may have a low vibrational, slow vibrational memory of that depression in place, but it will shift in that moment immediately, the moment everything is lifted up. To be depressed, to remain depressed, to be in a sad space, you must begin to lower everything down. A baby learns this just by simply dropping the bottom lip and letting the body know from a physiology perspective that things aren't okay. And they can work themselves up into tears from that aspect. And I hope you can see the little tease I'm doing and playing there, because you may have seen a baby winding themselves up at some stage, or a 2-year-old bottom lip comes out face drops, body goes all sad. As they're telling this feedback, physiology feedback to the rest of the body being, the information of how they want to feel, because instantaneously everything responds when the physiology changes. Eyes, oh my gosh, eyes access so much. NLP, and when I'm teaching neuro-linguistic programming, we work with the physiology of the eyes a lot. And when I'm working with a client, I work with the physiology of the eyes. It's almost like a cursor on a screen. You can clean and clear so much just through using eye movement. You might like to investigate that a wee bit. The spine. Breathing affects the spine. The physiology affects the spine. And when the spine is compressed, the thinking can feel compressed. It can feel like you're burdened down, and life can feel very tired and hard because of the contracting experience of this. I can even feel it now in my fingers as I'm compressing my fingers here. But as I open them up and let softness, ease, and breath and space come into the spine or into these fingers, indicating the spine, there's quite a difference, because the physiology is feeding back to the whole body being messages that's saying, oh, we have space. Things are opening up. When you bring the spine into an awareness using the crown chakra from perspective, right from the back of the spine here, all the way up like a silver cord reaching into the sky, and down from your tailbone, a connection down into the earth. That's a physiology using your body-mind experience in order to just lengthen the spine. And physiology instantaneously changes through that kind of thing. The head up, the head down in some ways. I've already explained this, but the head up and the head down can make a real difference to how you're feeling. Hand movements, whether they're open and expressive or whether they're very contained, and different people contain themselves in their conversations and different people are very expressive. Many times when I'm talking with you in a video section, I'm containing myself for the screen, but if I'm in the front of a classroom and working with groups of people, I always make sure that my hand movements are more open to include the amount of people that are there, because the physiology is paying attention and feeding back to the energy body being that is me, and therefore my attention and sensory bases are turned up. And so those who have eyes to see and ears to hear will hear that and know that this also is true within the life that you are and your expression into life. Body sectioning and direction. Yeah, this is a very interesting one. And this is if you want to play with the physiology more and the practical gateways that are available to you to shift at vibrational levels. I mentioned before about lifting the upper carriage, but what I didn't mention is allowing the lower carriage of the body, sort of below the ribs, the sacral area, the solar plexus sacral and root chakra, to feel present, to connect deeply, and the upper carriage to lift. And this is not creating a separation, but an observation of they function separately, but when functioning together, there's an incredible level of coherence that happens through the whole body system. And physiology-wise, there's feedback to the system. So in this case here, I'm kind of pointing out that everything that your body being is doing as it's moving around the planet on a daily basis is feeding back to you knowledge. It is giving to you awarenesses. And you will see this if you sit in a cafe. I love to people watch. I sit in a cafe and I watch and I observe. Not judging, observing the different sections of somebody's body that is open or not open. Watching them interact with themselves and other people from these sections of their physiology makes a real difference. So from here, we're going to move into posture. And in this move to posture speaks volumes, absolute volumes. This is a great example of somebody sitting at a computer, or at least a skull, and skeleton sitting at a computer, or sitting crouched over, or seated up. This is not about right or wrong. However, the way the skeleton works, in some regards, the skeleton holds us up, and in some regards, it's not the skeleton at all. It's the interaction with the muscles, the ligaments, the tendons, and the whole body being. And as you refine your awareness and attention, the way you're moving, the way you're holding yourself internally, the awareness of your own presence, all affects your posture. And if you want to use the gross, and I'm using this from a lovely perspective, the gross physical body being to shift first, that gateway will, it cannot not affect the high vibrational frequencies of you. And the high vibrational frequencies of you, if you're feeling good and you're attuned to them, will also shift your physical body being. But remember, we're coming from the physical gateways in this session. And so your posture, as you move around on our planet, and I've already indicated some physiology and posture crossovers because they're very closely connected, and simply to be cleaner and to point more directly, I've pulled them out in this regard so that you can see them as separate, although they're never separate, of course. Your posture is always going to be feeding back to you how you've been thinking, how you've been feeling, what you've been paying attention to. And to bring in pauses in your life where you, on a daily basis, where you check in to observe your posture. This is profound because you're becoming consciously aware of you. Consciously aware of how you are emitting vibrational frequencies out into the world. The messages you are sending back to your body being. Significant. Really, really, truly significant, because your posture speaks volumes to you and to other people. So bring into conscious awareness your posture as you move around in your life. Where your hands are, how open you are, how closed off you are. Notice yourself in a difficult situation, in a difficult conversation, how open you can be at that point there. One where you have two opposing views, the one that you have and the opposing view that the other person has. And notice whether you desire to cross your arms or sit back. Or when you're in an engaging conversation, you're opening your arms up, you're leaning forward. When you're engaging with things, it's quite a different body posture than when you're kind of slightly disengaging yourself from a situation. And it all speaks volumes to you and the other person that you're working with, communicating with. Imagine how powerful this is in relationships when you come into conscious awareness of this kind of thing. And of course, one of the first things that happens here is people come into conscious awareness of other people's posture. And yes, of course, you'll do that. However, remember, the observer that is observing this is you, and your meaning making around that. It's just a beautiful reminder that I bring to you in this space here. Okay, so moving into another section, I'm just going to stop the share here and come back in. All right, so lots that we have gone through already today, and a real invite for you. Oh, my phone on. A real invite for you to navigate through those over the next week. But I'm also going to bring some key points in and coming to some levels of conclusion in this video, but also opening up new opportunities that we will be revisiting over the next number of weeks together. All right. So here's the fun thing. We're moving into movement. Now, we are always moving around in life. In fact, I really want to bring it in here that movement is life. It's the life force. If something is moving, we deem it to be alive. If something is not moving, in most cases, we deem it to be dead, or to be inanimate. So coming from that frame, it doesn't necessarily mean it's true, but coming from this frame that movement is life, anything that moves is life, we can begin to see that movement in a daily practice of you as you're developing and refining the way you're moving around on the planet. Physical exercise can help your body posture, help your physiology awareness, help your breathing practices so much. And not only that, there's all the benefits of being able to still have energy at the end of the day, to be able to pick up heavy items, to be able to participate and play with whether it's your children or life itself is really important. So I'm bringing in an invite. If you don't have movement or exercise, many people call it, as a practice in your life over 7 days, 3 or 4 days at least, where you're getting into some level of exercise, whether it's walking, whether it's running, whether it's yoga, whether it's going to the gym, whether it's exercises at home. All of these can be accessed in so many ways. It doesn't have to be expensive or cumbersome, and certainly do not set goals that are just too crazy out there right now. But this is inviting in your daily practice to get some level of exercise and movement. Goodness me, it could be that you commit to dancing 10 minutes of a day to your favorite songs, or to songs that are on the radio, or just to commit to participating in dance movements and moving your body being purposely. Whether you use a Vibratrain, I don't mind what it is you do, just bring into the daily practice of you some level of movement, because there is so much feedback in the health of exercise and movement that helps and assists you. All of the chemical releases in your body and the brain to the body, the feedback that comes from there, and not to mention just the simple level of achievement. I know I started back at the gym after years of exercising at home. I've always exercised, but after years of exercising at home, I thought, I'm going to go to the gym along with my children. And I can tell you those first 3 months weren't easy, especially at 5:30 in the morning. But the level of achievement, by the time I'd get home at 15 minutes past 7 in the morning on those 4 days a week when I went, I'd already achieved something quite amazing. And I felt really, really good about that, adding to life in that level of achievement way. If you like to achieve something, setting yourself goals that are achievable. Certainly do set up something with, a walking buddy. Okay, I won't go on and on, but this is a real invite to, if you don't already have an exercise program or an exercise platform, investigate some levels and share with a group. Share into the group that you're in with this program about what you do and how you do that and how many times a week you do that, and maybe have a revisit of it if you've kind of got a little bit sloppy around some of those things. So really inviting you to include in your daily practice some level of movement, because it is essential in your life force. And here we move to the daily practice. Whoops. Okay. So I will consistently point to a daily practice. And it comes down to your dedication and commitment. I have a little document called It's Sexy to Know Yourself, a daily practice, that I can share with you. And it may be in this link here. If you don't access it through this program, certainly feel free to access it on KarenJanelleDavis.com, where you'll find the practice somewhere on the giveaway sections of that screen. But if you don't have a daily practice in place, do think of getting one in place, because the rigidity, the commitment, the discipline to evolving the presence of you is so powerful if you already have a daily practice in place, oh my God, I admire you. I truly admire you. And I acknowledge you. And in this moment here, right now, may I be the one congratulating you for taking the time, the energy, and the effort, the discipline, the commitment to turn up every day to yourself, with yourself, acknowledging you in those moments, day in, day out, where you bring yourself to yourself, into the presence of you in a daily practice. You know that the magic is there, and regularly, I know because I have to, I recommit to myself to another level of a daily practice, or I shift it up a little bit in order to create some variety. More and more I take the breath as the feedback loop, or what's coming into my field of awareness as a practice that I'm playing in, but I'm always practicing. It's like top level musicians or top sports athletes are always practicing, always refining some level, going back to the basics again, then refining, practicing, going back to the basics, refining, deepening, creating higher level vibrational awareness. It's just such a joy to participate in this in your life. So this week, do dig into those practices around breath. Do dig into your own levels of commitment around your practice, and practice, and bring that level of practice to week 3, because each week, each step of these 12 is building one upon the other, one upon the other, one upon the other, in order to break them all into little pieces so that we can have an understanding of the way we're vibrating at a frequency level in our life, and how we can make slight shifts and adaptations that can make a real difference in the way that we're creating and therefore experiencing and witnessing this life journey that we are on. So just jumping back to full screen here, and just in the awareness of you, I would really like to thank you for participating in this. And now get on to those worksheets, and I will see you in the next essential steps. May you have the most magnificent week ahead. You are magnificent. You are magnificent. You truly, truly are magnificent. Be the magnificence that you truly, truly are.